Harry Potter. I'm gonna love you! And no offense, but he was extremely average, conniving and creepy. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this week I'm going to be talking about sexism in Harry Potter. Now I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so do not think I'm coming for Harry Potter, but I think it's there and I couldn't help but, I couldn't ignore it. I was like, oh, and like for me, so I am a person that grew up watching the movies, loved the movies, obsessed, and I didn't actually read the books until kind of about 2 years ago. I didn't finish them until about 2 years ago, when I was like 23, 24. And it's so funny, I remember I always felt super like inferior to everyone else who had read them and they're like way younger. It's like, oh my god, I haven't read the books, that I'm such a fraud. But then everyone was actually so jealous of me that I was reading them for the first time as an adult. And I'm almost like sad because I couldn't help but read them through my now feminist lens. Like if I had read them when I was like 10, I wouldn't have had that. So I couldn't help but see some of the stuff in the movie and in the books as well. They're kind of both there. And so in the video I'm going to talk about a lot of examples of where I think sexism is there, or just kind of like stereotypes that are harmful and different kinds of things. And I'm not going off just the movies or just the books. It's kind of a fluid. Some of the examples might be maybe particularly in the movies because it's maybe fresher in my head, or might be in the books or whatever. So there's kind of a mix of both. And then I'm going to talk through maybe why JK Rowling chose to put sexist bits in the books, or what might have been going on there. So we'll get kind of a deep dive, kind of a psychoanalysis, if you will, of what's going on in them. So apologies in advance if this video is very, very ranty. It feels like it's going to be a ranty one because I'm just like, oh, why? But such is life. Got a rant to learn. Learn fully 2020. Let's begin. So I just wanted to start overarchingly with the whole Hermione character. Like obviously she's an icon, so smart, knows everything, so brave, doing bits, and she's portrayed as this giant nag. Like if we go back to the very beginning, Philosopher's Stone, I mean she literally, the lads are talking shit about her, she's there trying to teach them that it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. They're raging, she's smarter than all of them, and then they're talking shit about her, and then she has to go to the bathroom crying, and she's just constantly portrayed as this nag. And as we all know, women are constantly portrayed as nags, and I'm just like, why? She is an icon. Why are we portraying her this way? This is not fair and not good. And it just like teaches girls that they can't, like, oh, this is, you know, they see Hermione being represented a certain way, then they see the lads' reactions to it, and like even if you're a young kid, you're gonna take that in as, okay, Hermione's actions bad because the guys don't like it, so therefore it shouldn't be that, shouldn't be nag, shouldn't be trying to teach people or better people, shouldn't be calling out people for their shit, which she did, and she was right to do, but she was constantly portrayed as a nag for doing so, and that bothers me. What also kind of kills my soul is that she was the smartest by far of all of them, and yet there's Harry Potter being like, woo, I saved everyone, and no offense, but he was extremely average. And it's just kind of a metaphor for life, isn't it, really? That like the woman is smart, works really hard, is doing great, but an average white male just saunters in and is like, woo, I'm a hero. Like, it's just kind of mind-boggling sometimes when you think about just how it could look so different, but it was all portrayed this way, and I'm just like, what was going on? She also was trying to keep them safe and stuff, you know, like the scene where she's like, oh, like when they're going down to the were they going down to the library? They were gonna go down and see Fluffy, and she's like, oh, you know, you could get killed or worse, expelled, you know. And she's just trying to keep them safe, stop them from losing house points, keep them alive, and they nearly died. And again, she was just portrayed as a complete nag for trying to keep them safe. And I get, yeah, sometimes there are people who are like killjoys, and you're trying to maybe be a bit adventurous and a bit rebellious, and they're like, oh my god, no, like I get that, and I do kind of hate those people. But it's just like, it's just so annoying. It's like, again, and she's portrayed as kind of like this like motherly, naggy type of person, and it's like, oh, it's just like, it's been so done. Like women are always portrayed that way. Could you not have gotten someone else to be that way, you know? Oh. And then what's even so much more annoying is that when Neville stood up to them and was like, no, like you're not gonna break the rules again or whatever, and they, was it Hermione I think, or was it someone who, you know, obviously made him stiff and made him fall back, and then he got rewarded in the end for being so brave to stand up for them. Whereas she's never been told she was brave for standing up to them and taking all of their shit. So that also bothers me. And again then, on the subject of nags, Molly Weasley is just constantly, like when I think of Molly Weasley and the movies, I just think of her this kind of high-pitched tone, like raging all the time, giving out all the time. And again, it's like, why? And like one prime example of this is when they stole, in the second movie, they stole the blue car, went around, blah, blah, blah. Obviously that was dodgy and wrong or whatever. But like, they come back to the house, Molly's raging, as she probably has a right to be, and it was very unsafe and dodgy and all that. But then the husband is like, how did she run? You know, and then like the mom's giving out to the husband and everything. And again, it's like the mom is portrayed as the complete nag, like, you know, ruining all the fun, wet blanket. And the dad is seen as this legend, being like, oh, how did the car run? Like, oh. And again, I understand that if you haven't watched the movies or books, you probably don't get any of this. But then I guess if you were watching this movie, you probably have an interest, so you probably do know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that just annoyed me as well. Can you tell I'm annoyed? Then the example of Luna, I kind of wanted to just throw her in, just being seen as a complete freak. It's just, and sometimes I don't know whether it's like, are they being portrayed this way, or am I interpreting them this way because I'm so sensitive? Like, just there I was about to say, like, oh, you know, like Seamus blows up everything, but it's portrayed as like, oh, silly, funny Seamus, you know, not as incompetent. And like Neville, again, it's like, oh, silly, funny Neville, but like, it's never seen as like a bad thing. Whereas like Luna's just a big freak. And you know what I mean? So again, I'm like, and maybe people can comment on this, like, are they actually being portrayed this way, or am I interpreting it this way through my own sexist lens? Because I'm sexist too, guys. Keep that in mind. So yeah, just an interesting one to keep in mind, I think. And I don't have an answer. Oh, and now I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw Ron under the bus. Does he have any redeeming character traits? Honestly, like when you think about it, he's an asshole. He actually is so rude to so many people in his life, it's not even funny. And he's just portrayed as like this kind of like grumpy, like kind of grumpy, charming type, and it's like, ooh, no, I'm sorry. So I mean, let's first talk about him and Hermione's relationship. Like, first of all, I would just die. I mean, there's no sexual chemistry there whatsoever. He wasn't nice to her all throughout the movies, and then at the end it's like, ooh, we kissed, we're in love. It's like, that, I'm sorry, but that was just the most like unnatural thing ever. Wouldn't you die if like this guy was meant to be like, and then you married him, and this was like, and this is how he treated you all along? Like, no, and it's setting such a bad example. I'm like, no, a guy shouldn't treat you that way if he loves you. Like, no. And like, to use some examples, how he reacted when she was going to the Yule Ball with Victor Crumb. I mean, he was raging, and he didn't ask her now. He didn't ask her because he was like, oh yeah, you know, didn't like, oh, as a last resort he'd ask her, and then was raging when she had the audacity to go with someone else. And he's raging because he lost out, and you know, she's his and he owns her and she can't possibly go with anyone else, and like ruins her night. And it's like, really, and he's angry at himself because he's like, I should have asked her, you know, but I didn't. But instead of just being self-aware and looking at himself and his actions, he's raging at her and ruins her night and makes her cry, which is just, oh, honestly unforgivable. I mean, like, it's just like, don't make a girl cry. Oh. Then he rages then when he finds out that she kissed him. Like, he finds out years later, but he didn't know. And he's raging, doesn't talk to her for weeks. And it's like, and it's just like slut-shaming. It's like, she's allowed to kiss people, like, where is this going? It's a weird kind of muddy the water vibe. But what is important to mention in this instance is that Hermione always stood up for herself. So yeah, I'm here raging about like sexism and stuff, but Hermione did stand up for herself in those instances, so that is good, and I'll talk a bit more about that at the end. So that was good for like girls to see and stuff. You know, like she raged at him at the Yule Ball, and she was like, you know, you should have plucked up the courage and asked me yourself, and you know, so that was kind of a redeeming time for the book. But again, the woman shouldn't have to stand up for herself. The guy should just not be an asshole. You know what I mean? So then Ron and with Ginny. So it's just like, obviously like Ginny's his younger sister, and it's kind of this line between, okay, is he being older protective brother, which is already kind of a dodgy trope. It's like, that can go too far sometimes, and veer into the territory of sexism. Like, are you being like protective and nice in like a non-territorial way, like you don't own your sister, she's not your property, or are you just slut-shaming her and making it like that she can't have her own you know, romantic life or sex life or whatever. And there's like that example when she's, I think when they're in like the pub or whatever, and she's kissing Dean Thomas, and I can't remember whether it's in the books or the movies, and Ron's like, oh, I know, he's raging, and he's like, oh, I don't want people thinking my sister's a, and he like didn't say the word, and Ginny was like, a what? Like, what was he gonna say? Like a slut, or you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, but again, good to mention that Ginny stood up for herself, but again, she shouldn't have to. So he's just so problematic, you guys. Then, on to Rita Skeeter. Rita Skeeter. Like, of course, her character was portrayed by a woman. Like, of course it was. You know what I mean? Like, nosy, interfering, gossipy. Of course that was portrayed by a woman. I mean, of course we wouldn't step beyond gender stereotypes and get a man to do it. No, that would be going way too far. So again, just like, it's like, I have no words. Then on to Lavender Brown. Like, I feel bad for her. She was just portrayed as this like obsessed with Ron character. And first of all, it's like, I almost feel like tricked, like that the viewer is meant to see, or the reader is meant to see Ron through her lens, and we're all meant to think Ron is like super attractive and super desirable, and it's like, no, he's not. So I'm like, are you trying to trick us? But it's just like it makes out that like all, and again, like, this would be fine if, you know, one woman could act away and not represent women everywhere, but that's not how it works. One woman does something and people think women everywhere are like that. So when one woman is like obsessed with a guy, it reinforces the stereotype for all women, that all women are obsessed with guys, and that we like get way too in love and way too like cuddly and fluffy, and we're like, oh my god, I love you. And it's been like 2 dates, and she's seen as pathetic, and it's just so upsetting. And like, she did so much more stuff. Like, she was so brave at the end and died tragically, but we all just remember her as being obsessed with Ron. And it's like, she's just reduced to that, as so many women are, and it's like, where do I even begin? What was also dodgy, and that was that with Lavender Brown, is that Hermione also kind of hates Lavender Brown. And again, it's not, you know, women's responsibility to kind of help other women. Like, both men and women should be equally punished in a sense for being sexist towards women and for, you know, being mean towards women. But it kind of almost like gives Ron's actions and being, you know, thinking Lavender's weird, it gives them kind of almost validation if we also see Hermione saying, yeah, Lavender's weird. I feel like it's sad to see the kind of like maybe internalized misogyny that like Hermione's feeling. In that she's like, Hermione sees this girl kind of, you know, being brave, showing her emotions, being upfront, as we all should be, and being honest. And Hermione knows that is like behaviour that is like seen as really bad by society. So Hermione's like, yeah, that's weird. But it's like, you know, Hermione might also want to show her feelings and be honest. But we've demonized that so much that it's like, oh my god, no, yeah, she's weird. And it's just kind of sad for everyone involved. Then really interesting as well to look at the character of Dolores Umbridge. She's obviously bright pink. She's portrayed as extremely feminine, you know, like you know, like kind of evil like, type, you know. Like, I'd almost actually prefer if she was like portrayed as like, you know, like warrior, like fighting, strong kind of evil, but she's portrayed as an evil, a very feminine evil, like conniving and creepy. And it's yeah, you might think like, oh yeah, no, it's nice, you know, the woman in the evil position, and not just the victim. It's nice, but it's also like she's portrayed in a very feminine, evil way, and that's kind of dodgy. And she's like all her cats and stuff, and it's just I think it's interesting to think about her character. I don't have too much more to say, but it's an interesting one. Then we look at Fleur in the 4th movie book. You know, there's that scene where Hagrid's like, you know, you need to cop on, Harry, like, you know, like, Fleur, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, you know, Fleur's not an idiot, like, Fleur's, you know, pretty badass and she knows stuff. And it's like, we needed to explicitly be told that, like, it was kind of maybe assumed that Fleur, because she was blonde and pretty and a girl, that she couldn't possibly win the competition, that she wasn't going to be as good of a contender as the rest of them. And it's like, it's sad that Hagrid had to point out that, no, actually, she has a brain, like, she's not just fluffy fairy princess, like, you know, it's kind of annoying. And then what's also kind of annoying, when they're in the maze, that she's the first to go, like that, and like she has to be rescued by Harry, and that she's now being eaten up, and like, that's kind of annoying. And then one final point I wanted to make was just on the male characters in the movie. I mean, like the main characters. So like obviously Harry is the main character, Harry Potter book, hello. And then, you know, the headmaster of Hogwarts is a man, Dumbledore. The main evil guy, Voldemort, man. And then all the ministers of magic were all men as well. And that's kind of just like, again, obviously, yeah, we had, you know, strong women in the books and the movies, but all the main powerful characters in the movie were all men. And it's like, again, like, it's like, that's just annoying. Like, you could have done better there. So now let's kind of look at all that and let's look at it just kind of objectively. And I think there are a couple of reasons for why these sexist things might have occurred. So I think like one thing I want to mention is like, I think it's really surprising and it makes me more angry because a woman wrote these books. So you might think like, oh, like a woman wrote them, so maybe they should be more feminist, or, you know, but like that's just not necessarily the case. I mean, we're all raised in the same sexist society, so it's not surprising that a woman would then write a book with those same stereotypes and prejudices. So it's sad, but not surprising. They're also written like quite a while ago, like, you know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. So again, obviously, like, you know, feminism, and obviously feminism has been huge forever, but, you know, kind of like representation and things like that weren't spoken about until quite recently. So maybe that's another reason why it isn't as feminist as we might like it to be. And also, I mean, JK Rowling is violently anti-trans. I mean, I'm sure we all know this by now, and if you're watching this video, you probably already know that. But, I mean, yeah, so it's also, again, I mean, not that surprising. She maybe is, you know, not that feminist herself, you know, and obviously we all have different ideas of feminism. She definitely does. So that's another reason why it's maybe not that surprising now, after all, that she's like a raging anti-trans person. And then I think what's interesting to mention as well is, something I read about this was like, you know, was she just representing life as it was? You know, like, was she being realistic? Like, because I mean, you know, like a mother like Molly might react that way when your sons are being reckless and being unsafe. You know, the ministers of magic in, you know, the real world are probably all men. You know, there are a lot of truths, and, you know, brothers do slut shame their sisters, and men do slut shame women, and, you know, women are seen as nags, and they're trying to help you, and they're smarter, and they're not getting anywhere. So is it like, was she trying to actively represent that and then show kind of the pushback to that? So like, we do see Hermione standing up for herself, Ginny standing up for herself. So it's, in a way, it's like, does she purposely put in those kind of sexist situations to see the woman standing up for herself and to show the readers, the watchers, that that's not okay? So if that was why it's done, then that's good, I guess. I mean, again, I don't think we should be showing people being sexist, because we already have so much of that, so I don't know how good it is to show it and then show someone, like a woman, raging back at it. I don't know. I don't know whether we should be doing that or not showing it at all. And maybe I'm pretending like it doesn't exist, which isn't good either. So it's kind of a funny one. So if that was the reason why she did that, I'd be fascinated to know, and that would be really interesting. But it's just kind of good to think about, like, just, you know, does life influence media, or does media influence life, or is, you know, how does it work in the end? Just how dangerous is that, or is it a good way to go about it? And again, she might not have thought about this at all, and she could just be a giant raging sexist and writing stereotypes left, right and centre. So who knows? And I guess, like, you know, my point with this video isn't to shit on Harry Potter, but just to be aware, you know, we all, like, we all love Harry Potter, we all love these kind of series, but sexism is everywhere. Sexism is written by women. Sexism is consumed by everyone. And, like, you know, like, the Harry Potter, the whole thing is not an overtly sexist thing, but it's there, and it's good to know that everything you're consuming, everything you're watching, everything you're reading, there is underlying sexism there, and it's good to be aware of it. So that's kind of just something I wanted to point out. And it's just, I'm sad because people love Harry Potter and I don't want to point out these things, but they're there and we should talk about them. So that's kind of that. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any more examples, I practically didn't even scratch the surface on this video, so if you have any more examples of sexism in the movie, comment down below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of just random feminist bits. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye!